today we are breaking down the Tyga MAMACITA music video featuring YG, Danny Trejo, and the legendary Carlos Santana. Now, this is probably one of the biggest music videos I've ever shot, and like other videos, we ran into some obstacles. But as filmmakers, we are problem solvers, and no matter what, we get things done. Now, grab your popcorn, your jewel pods, whatever it is you may need, get comfortable, and let's get to it. I think we got it. All right. The first thing we want to talk about is the telephone scene. So this scene is really important for a few reasons. First, we had a reference that we were trying to capture, which was From Dusk Till Dawn. So we needed to create a few looks to this film that could be replicated throughout. And the first light I actually put up was a 12K HMI. Now this is going to be replicated. Now, the first light I put up when we were actually on set was a 12K HMI. This is going to be really high up on a condor at about 30 feet. Now the reason I put it this far up is because it's replicating moonlight. So what the moonlight is doing in this scene is it's going to be lighting up the road and giving us a little bit more detail in our background, raising those shadows and the ambience of the scene. Now that we have our moonlight, we want to bring in a contrasting color. We wanted to use a street light. So what we did was we took a sky panel S60 and we put it up at a 45-degree angle, probably about 10 feet in the air.
Busting out the big guns. Woo! S360. Oh, not you.
And what that's doing is it's going to rake across our scene. We don't want it to rake across and blow everything out. Instead of using a flag or a floppy, what I did was I used the roof of the building next to us to cut the light so that we only get this small triangle of light on the telephone booth. So the next thing I did was we want to go ahead and give our talent a key light. In this case, the telephone booth had a light built into the top of it. So I had my gaffer go ahead and replace the bulbs with the color temperature we wanted, dim it down a little bit just to get the right exposure on their face. Now, like I said, creating a world where we have rules of this kind of lighting, we needed to add some green. Green's gonna also be used throughout the film. We added an stereopixel tube under this little awning that's going to be splashing down on the wall. Simple as that. Inside these little windows on the left of the wall, if we didn't light these, this wall would be extremely flat. So we added a couple of stereopixel tubes. What those are doing is they're giving us a glow from outside those windows and making that wall a little bit more interesting. We used a sky panel S60 to push through the crosses. Now these crosses are so dope. They are actually made of glass and they're right in the perfect spot on that window so we could see them in our frame. We just shined that S60 through there, set it to red, and it was good to go. Let's move on to the next setup. Where the is my coffee? Seriously. Oh. Let's cut inside the bar. Inside the bar was insane. When we first started, this bar was completely empty. I think the only thing that was actually in the bar was the bar top. I got together with the art department and we talked about what we could add to this bar to start lighting it without adding any keys or fills or anything yet. Now keep in mind guys, practicals with normal colored light is really important because it kind of grounds the entire scene. If it was just all crazy colored lights, it would get really muddy and things would start to not really make sense. Keep in mind this is an actual bar and these are actual people, so we want to add some normal lights to make sure people don't get lost in some kind of crazy world. The first thing I had them do, and I wanted to make sure that they had, were sconces on the walls. Especially for this type of city, I feel like there would definitely be sconces, and inside those sconces we wanted to add those old Edison style bulbs. Since this city looks pretty old, we are going to add that to increase the production value of the scene. Neon. Neon comes in when we talk about From Dusk Till Dawn. At the titty twister,
we got white pussy, black pussy, Spanish pussy, we got smelly pussy.
They have a lot of neon and red rope lights, so we needed to bring in the neon to bring the director's vision to this music video. Here on the left-hand side, we have a cocktails neon sign. That's going to give us a lot of push. Since it's so big and it's red, it's going to allow me to set the tone of the bar and give us a red push onto all of our talent. It's going to kind of fill in everything from that side, brings that bar texture to the scene. I had to add a key light to Tyga here, which is obviously the most important thing. If he's not lit right, then the whole scene goes in the can and I'm in trouble. So keying him, I wanted to add a complementary or contrasting color. So the next light after that, we are going to use a teal or blue sky panel coming from the left-hand side. I wanted to give him some kind of rim or kind of side light kicker to also complement that. What we did was we put 3 Astera pixel tubes along a rafter on the top of the bar. The ceiling things that go across the ceiling, you know what I'm talking about. So the split of blue and red is going to play a lot in this bar scene in general. As you can see, it's blue on one side, red on the other side of Tyga. It's also blue on one side, red on the other side of our model that's on the bar. Boom! First time we see our leading lady. She busts through the doors, followed by a couple of her friends. She had to look beautiful. So we made sure that that key light, that light matte 2L, was very soft. That's just going to wrap around into the shadows and give us a really nice fall off. Once again, we have the Astera pixel tubes outside and the moonlight carries over from the previous shot. Now we cut back to Tyga after we've seen the leading lady for the first time. I don't want to spend too much time on this shot, but I just want to show you that once he spins around, that his backlight now becomes his key light and his key light now becomes his backlight. Now, this is my favorite shot from the music video. It is the master performance outside the bar, and we're probably seeing the most stuff in our entire frame here than we've seen in the entire video. So let me give you a little rundown. The set was extremely huge. We had 3 600 amp generators, 3 condors. We had 2 18K lights, we had a 12K light, we had a Sky Panel S360, 6 Sky Panel S60s, and we had a full 5-ton grip and electric truck that had a bunch of tungstens and everything grip you can imagine. Getting into this, the first thing I wanted to add was the overhead fill light. So this is an 18K with a peacock gel. It's going to be about 30 feet high on a condor, and it's shooting down through a 12 by magic cloth. And we put a duvetine skirt around that so it didn't spread too far and blow out some of the objects in frame. It is going to spread an even teal color throughout the frame. It's going to give us some hits of color on the bikes, and it's going to give us just a nice soft fill on the front of the bar. The next thing we did is we had another 18K deep in the background. Full blast, straight into those trees, backlighting our set. Now let's talk about the Astera pixel tubes that are outside the bar. Once again, we had 3 of them up underneath the awning of the bar, and that's giving us that red push. Remember guys, in cinematography, we're building a look and sticking to that look so that it is continuous throughout the entire film. Don't forget that. That is your job. Now moving on, we finally have our key light to this scene, which is going to be a Sky Panel S60 that's going to be set to a sodium vapor feel. That's the same color we had at the phone booth. We want to make sure that continues on here. That's going to be up at a 45-degree angle, keying our talent and the girls in the foreground. And as you can see, that light is cutting off, causing a shadow on the bar. So that actually makes sense that that light is high up in the air like a street light. So Santana's solo shot. Santana is sick, and when we started out on this music video journey, I didn't even know he was going to be in the film. After we shot our first 2 days, I got hit up and they said, yo, we're adding Santana to this song. He's gonna be playing the guitar. And I was like, holy shit, let's go. So we went to Vegas and we shot his scene. Since we shot this at a different date, first thing we did here is we wanted to key him with that same kind of teal color we used in the Mexican city before. The first thing we use is a Sky Panel S60. It's going to be in a softbox with the grid. It's going to be coming down at a 45-degree angle to give him that kind of moonlight feel from before. And that moonlight is really going to play a lot off of his guitar. It's really reflective, and it's going to give us this bright poppy thing right in the center of frame to draw our attention to him and what he is doing. Moving on, we needed some kind of fill light. Since we had street lights that were kind of that sodium vapor orange color from before, I'm going to add that in with a second Sky Panel on the right hand side of frame. Adding those things, we needed one more thing to make this scene pop. So I got an idea to shine a 2K open face light directly through a window in the doors that were in the background of this scene. Full blast, and then filled the room with haze. And that's gonna give us this cool like sunburst effect. A cool fact actually about this shot was I'm gonna take full responsibility. I forgot to add diopters to the list. So I had a PA run to Walmart and grab me a magnifying glass. Now keep in mind, we're using Hawk Anamorphics for this, extremely expensive glass. And to fix it, sometimes you gotta do whatever it takes. I put the magnifying glass on the front element of the lens as a diopter so we could get these close-up shots, and it turned out amazing. If you're stuck, you're in a pickle, just do what you can to make it happen and move on. And they ride off romantically into the sunrise. That's the Mamacita video broken down. I hope you guys got as much from this video as I got from actually shooting this video. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you next time.